I'm joined by the curator of the Museum of Bodily Fluids, located in Fairbanks, Alaska, Frederick Hines. Frederick, welcome to the show. It's good to have you here. When did your love affair with bodily fluids start?
Several years ago, I was on a playful lark floating in a sensory deprivation tank. While I was there in gallons of warm salt water, I had my epiphany. I realized the importance of my own bodily fluids. As the years passed, my interest grew, and I became what could be considered a connoisseur, a collector of bodily fluids, not just my own.
Well, now give us a brief overview of some of the items in your museum.
Oh, everything from the mundane to the esoteric, from the watery to the highly viscous, from plasma to protoplasm.
Do you have any personal favorites?
I do, actually. I am quite taken with the lymph juices. A clear fluid that cleanses the blood, yet does not ever try to overpower or mock the plasma.
It's a humble fluid.
A very humble fluid, and I think that's what I like about it.
Yeah. Now, you also have a collection of historical fluids in your museum.
Actually, yes.
Can we take a peek at those right now?
Very careful to bring these down to your show. We have some samples, fairly representative collection. Right here, and if you wish to take a look, we have the hydrocephalic fluids of B.F. Skinner.
Oh, a wonderful mind.
Oh, indeed, indeed, a wonderful fluid. Yeah. And you want to be very, very careful with this. This is, let me grab this, testicular fluid from John Dillinger. Taken from the Smithsonian. It's on loan, actually.
Okay. All right. Fascinating stuff.
Are you a literary buff at all?
I certainly am.
Well, we happen to have urogenital fluid from Walt Whitman.
I sing the body electric. Very
Again,
nice.
I have to ask you to be very careful with these. Henry David Thoreau, eardrum fluid. He actually, if the biographies are correct, was suffering a slight infection at the time.
So it has a remarkable sense of, like his writing, of purity and almost a transcendental quality to the...
You've been reading our brochures. Now things get a little dicey. Emily Dickinson's ovarian fluids.
Soft-spoken fluid, much like her poems.
Absolutely. I might use that, actually.
Looks like, okay.
Yeah, the slight coagulation, but such is the case with some of our better fluids.
Wonderful.
We also have, I kind of like this being a film buff, some prop cornea fluid from Un Chien Andalou.
Okay, a classic short film.
Salvador Dali's People.
Un Chien Andalou. Yes, I remember that scene very well. Okay, now you also have, this is a crowd pleaser all the time, celebrity fluids.
Oh, we're not just a highbrow museum. No,
right.
We flirt with pop culture, if you will, and I've, for your viewers, brought along some examples of that. From actually several quarts we have at the museum, I've brought a small sample of glandular fluids from Fatty Arbuckle.
A wonderful performer.
Well, burdened with scandal, but certainly his films do live on.
Oh, it's remarkable.
We have, oh, I think you might like this, sebaceous fluids from the great Jane Mansfield.
Oh, jeez, why she was...
They got shaken up on the plane a bit. Actually, I'm not sure if that got mixed up with Emily Dickinson's ovarian fluids, so I'll have to get back to the museum to check that.
Jane Mansfield, she was lovely.
Underrated, as was her fluid. We also have some swollen knee fluid from Dr. Renee Richards. Now, I'm not certain if this is before or after.
I see. But regardless, she was quite an accomplished athlete, huh?
Still is in her own way, if I may.
Yes.
We have, oh, this I like very much, actually. Fetal fluid from Brooke Shields' mother's amniocentesis test.
Wonderful.
And very hard to get. She had wanted to keep that, actually. Very unwilling to donate that to the museum.
A star is born.
If you will. Just a small sampling.
Wow, that's wonderful. Absolutely stunning.
May I interrupt you
Sure.
just a second? And this a personal favorite, and I think your viewers at home, a lot of the, if you will, couch potatoes will like this. We have some digital joint fluid from Irene Ryan, beloved granny from Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh. Irene Ryan, an accomplished actress in her own right. Huh?
Oh, absolutely.
Jeez.
And again, I think we have an infection to thank for this.
Stunning, stunning collection. By the way, now why did you choose Fairbanks, Alaska as the site of your museum?
Well, certainly we had considered Los Angeles, it being a rather fluid town in its own right, but the constant threat of earthquake and therefore spillage prevented that. Also, I think the cooler climates of Fairbanks certainly put a stop to the evaporation process, which is, of course, you can imagine, a real bugbear for me.
Now, do you have a special gift when any of for visitors who come?
Well, actually, for a short time, it's funny you should mention that. We have adrenal fluid samples that we're giving away to anyone over 18 who comes and sees the museum. A shot of that with your orange juice is better than a strong cup of coffee or a six-pack of Jolt Cola, for that matter.
Very, very nice. Well, thank you, man.
Well, no, actually, you may. Foolish of me.
Now, I'm curious. You are a fascinating man. Give us a glimpse into your life away from the museum.
Oh, is there such a thing? Actually, I must confess that my life now, hobbies are still tied into work. I attend autopsy potlucks, the occasional embalming. We have moisture meetings, actually, across the country annually.
You know, Frederick, a few years ago I had some cranial surgery. I had a pituitary problem.
Really?
Yeah, and this is rather presumptuous of me, I feel, but is it at all possible for me to perhaps make a donation to the museum?
Speaking on behalf of the museum, we're very honored, and if I may, don't let this be too heady for you, but I'll set you right next to Irene.
You know, thank you. That does mean a lot to me.
It really means quite a bit to us. Thank you. We'll have an 8x10 headshot over that in the museum.
Frederick, any final thoughts? This has been a wonderful experience. Any final thought you can leave us with?
Certainly. We'd like you all to come to the museum when you have a chance. This is Mucous Membrane Month, nationally, of course. I'd like to leave you and your viewers with our motto that we knock around at the museum. One man's liver bile is another man's chablis.
Ladies and gentlemen, Frederick Hines, the curator of the Museum of Bodily Fluids.
Thank you.